Good morning. It is the Going On Daily Live morning show. I'm your host, Rodrigo, and my co-host today is Chuck. What's up, Chuck? How are you
Ron, I'm
doing?
living the dream. I hope you are as well. Looking forward to a great show
Always.
today.
Always. I'm excited. I think we have a tremendous show. We do have some sad news today,
Sad
but
news.
we will get through this because it's gonna be fun. Except for the first story. That's besides the fact, But I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I feel revived. I feel like I got enough sleep last night.
I definitely did not. I was
I know you
traveling
didn't.
yesterday, but here we are. And some of my most brilliant moments are when I am suffering from sleep deprivation. So let's
Of
hope for a
course,
masterpiece.
of course. That's a great thing because you know you at crunch time when you might not be at your best. That's when you can be at your best. Like
That's right. And I've got some
under
aid
pressure,
here,
what you gotta do?
got some coffee. Shout
Yeah.
out to my friends at Quick Trip. If you guys would like to sponsor Going On Daily, I think that'd be a welcome addition.
Oh, that would be great. So we got some great stuff. We're gonna be talking. Well, we're gonna be talking about what animals would be saying if they could talk. We're also gonna have strange things that people collect. Now, I'm a collector.
Of strange
I don't.
things.
I don't collect strange things though. Trading cards. I think
I
that's
used to
cool.
have a whole bunch of NASCAR die-casts that I collected, and maybe
Yeah.
that's a little strange
Oh,
to
that's pretty
some,
neat.
but I
Yeah.
got
No,
some
that's
real
not
strange
strange.
stuff.
It's like Matchbox cars. You have the Matchbox cars. If I had all the ones that I had when I was a little kid, I'd be rich right now.
Filthy
Rich.
rich.
So I collect board games too. I think it's more of a collection than, a hobby
I
because I
collect
have a lot
hats.
of them. You get the
Hats
hats.
and
So
strange memorabilia. That's a
yep.
XFL. He Hate Me signed autographed cleat
He
right
Hate
there.
Me was the best.
There you go. I got a signed
He
shoe from
was
him.
the best.
Speaking of strange things to collect,
We're gonna be talking about rocks and bones,
two of my
which
favorite
can
topics.
also be collectors, right? So we will be talking about that, but we're gonna open it up with some sad news. I was stunned when I saw this. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo Huxtable. Now, say what you want about Cosby.
I have.
Yeah, not a good guy. But that show was kind of special. It really was. First of all, great family show. Behind the scenes might
Absolutely.
be a little left to be desired,
Yeah,
but
knowing what we know now, it's a little different. But back in the
it
80s
is.
and early 90s, I think the Cosby Show went from about the mid 80s till maybe the
Yeah,
early 90s.
it was one of the biggest shows of the 80s,
Absolutely.
you
Big
know?
fan of Theo.
And and this guy right here was proud of that show, and he should be. He should be. And I'll tell you, as far as child actors, this guy came a long way. Like, you don't get many child actors that become, you know, actors that are very successful and are known when they get older, right?
True.
This guy did. I mean, he was on so many TV series and it's such a tragic story. I mean, you're talking Cosby Show, The Residents, Malcolm and Eddie, Suits, 911, Major Crimes, and I'll tell you, those are all great shows, but I loved Jeremiah, and it was with Matthew Perry, and it was post-apocalyptic, and it was so good. It was so good. I recommend it to anyone to watch that series. It was such a great series. But this kid started age 9 on the Fame TV series. Age 9.
fine. And we got to watch them grow up. There were a few of those shows back in the 80s, like the Girl
Yeah.
and Who's the Boss and the Cosby Show. They were all kind of around that same storyline, family related and
Yep.
wholesome comedy. Definitely there was an era back there in the 80s before it got really raunchy and kind of crazy where wholesome television shows were prime time and everybody loved them.
Yep. So Jug is in the house. Ignacio River is in the house. Aguante River. Aguante.
Hidden
Ignacio
message,
River
perhaps?
posted Aguante River.
I thought maybe that was another show or a movie that I had not heard
I don't know.
of.
Maybe it could
But
be.
maybe the fact that it's Ignacio River calling out Iguante River, maybe that's a person. I don't know.
Yeah,
Ignacio, let
it
us
could
know
be.
what's up.
It might be a brother.
There you go.
The brothers Ignacio and Aguante. It could be,
Could
actually.
be. Let us know,
It could be.
Ignacio. We need to know the answer there.
Yes. So let me give you some of the details that have been released. It's really tragic. So he was, first of all, he's only 54 years old.
Yeah.
He still looks like a 20-year-old in this picture. I don't know when this picture was taken, but he looks like 20. So he was vacationing with his family in Costa Rica, and basically he was swimming in the ocean, and a current dragged him out.
Mm.
And I mean, when you get pulled by a current,
Nothing you
you
can
have to
do.
be a strong swimmer. A
Very.
strong swimmer.
And even that doesn't guarantee
And
survival.
right, exactly. So they try to get him and pull him out and help him, but he did die. It is really terrible, and I'm guessing someone else tried to help. So all the beachgoers, you probably had a few guys that tried to go and save him and pull him back. Another swimmer was also pulled by the current, and he's in critical condition right now. So he's hanging on. Um, Hopefully he pulls through. You know, uh, it's just tragic. It is tragic. I mean, what does your family seeing this? I mean, it's got to be an awful sight. It's got to be an awful sight when you can't do anything about it
Yeah,
and you're
you
kind of
just
helpless.
you watch someone, literally take their last breath right there on
Yeah.
what was to be a happy day. We're waking up, probably going and
Yep.
grabbing breakfast. Never thought in your mind that that was going to be the last
Nope.
time. And
Nope.
I was sitting at the airport yesterday when I saw the TMZ breaking news on that, and I thought, man, is that real? Did that really happen?
Yeah.
And then I saw a couple other, news
Yeah.
sources that kind of said, yeah, it's real. And out of
Yep.
respect to the family, they didn't really put a lot of the details out, which I appreciate. But I read the same thing. It was an
Yeah. I don't know
accidental
if I would have
drowning.
put. I don't think I would have put major details. I just people just want to know, but I only want to know that. I don't want to know personal
I
details
think
of.
it's fairly self-explanatory when they say
Yeah.
accidental drowning. There's not much more that needs to be said, and
Right.
just a sad thing because, like you say, it was a guy that we all, as '80s
Watch them
children,
grow up.
and we grew up watching that. And Theo
Yeah.
Huxtable, and I was always a fan of Rudy, but those were our
He was
those were our
funny.
people. I'd get up
Yeah.
or I'd stay up late, at that time, 8 o'clock prime time, and watch Cosby, and I learned a lot from the Huxtable families. So
Yeah. Yeah.
RIP to
Absolutely.
Malcolm Jamal for sure. That was a really sad thing to
Absolutely.
see.
Absolutely. I'm going to see if I can find Jeremiah on my program that I got. Because I think I want to watch it again because it was that good. I've seen it like 3 times in the past.
There
So,
you go.
Yeah, it's just a tragic story. And it just goes to show, when you are traveling, you need to take precautions. You can't just go willy nilly into doing anything. You're not in your own country, you're not in your own town or your own home. You need to take precautions. So you need to know if you're going swimming out in that ocean, you got to know what you got to watch out for. You have to know.
That's why I don't swim in the ocean, because you
I don't
never
swim in the ocean
know.
either. Nope, I don't either.
And
I
it
don't
was it
do it.
was
I
a
used to.
tourist area. It wasn't like,
Yeah,
it just happens.
yeah,
Sometimes Mother Nature's in a volatile mood, and unfortunately, some folks are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just happens.
yeah. Ignacio warning us that Ocolity or whatever it is, Ocolity is a bot. Well, yeah, we know that because we get like thousands of them.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ignatius. I love that. Ignatius reminds me of Santa Claus is coming to town.
All right. There you
One of the
go.
characters was named Ignatius, the little kid.
I didn't even know that. Now I've learned
Yeah,
something new for my Tuesday.
Ignatius.
My day can be considered complete because Ignacio is a rare
Ignacio,
name, but I have a
Ignacio, yeah.
friend. I have a friend here in San Antonio whose name is Ignacio. He owned a patent to a little device that you put around the weep holes on your brick homes to prevent scorpions from going inside. So I do know a gentleman named
God,
Ignacio, and
you
his
guys
nickname
keep
is
the.
Nacho. So shout out to
Well, that
Nacho. I'm
might
sure
be
he's probably at
him.
home watching this.
It could be him.
Maybe if you're Ignacio that owns the bug out company, hey, good job.
You guys can keep your scorpions.
I'm
I'm good
good.
with that.
They don't even
'Cause
bother me anymore. I used to be afraid of them, and I used to see them in my house all the time. And
oh no,
I
hell
thought,
no,
well,
hell
if it
no,
happens, it happens.
hell no. I will pass on the scorpions. All right. So rest in peace, Malcolm. No, I'm from See, we got a viewer from Argentina.
Going on daily is worldwide, my friend. I
That
told
is
you,
right.
we're coming to take on the entire world. Thank you for
Shout
watching,
out
Ignacio. We
Ignacio.
appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. He's watching on Kick. Um, so Ignacio, if you can put what you stream on Kick, so if you stream video games, you can post what you stream there, so that way people know, and we like to support people. I mean, we have Chakra underscore Power that watches us on Twitch, and he plays video games and stuff, and we enjoy when he comes onto the show. I haven't seen him in a while though. I gotta check in on him. I gotta see if he's okay.
There you go.
So thank you so much. Let's to lighten it up a little. I did have a little piece of other TV news
All right.
that I will give because I don't want to end it on a sad note on that topic. But School Spirits Paramount Plus series. It stars Peyton List from Cobra Kai.
All
She's
right.
one of the producers too, so she's doing all right for herself. So
Indeed.
in another series, but they are just starting filming the production for season 3 today.
Probably
Today.
as we speak. Talk about
Yes.
breaking news. This is happening
Yes.
right now in
Right
modern
now
times, in real time, folks.
it is in Seattle, so it would be 7 in the morning if they're doing
Maybe
it.
they get up early.
Yeah. But they just added 3 new members to the season 3 cast, including Ari Dalbert, Erica Swayze. Is she related to Patrick?
If she's not, I would hope that she claims to be. I would. My last name was Swayze. I'd be like Chuck Swayze, my uncle Patrick, I'd
I
take
can
advantage of this
picture that,
situation
Chuck
as best I
Swayze.
could. Chuck Swayze in the house. Why not, right?
There's a little bit of a ring to that.
Right. Well, we
It
talked
actually
about we
fits.
talked about cult TV shows last week, and Trailer Park Boys was one that we mentioned. And
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze was actually mentioned in that show for an entire season, but they spelled it differently so that there wouldn't be any copyright infringements. And in the episodes, Patrick Swayze had the world's most powerful model train, and they came to find out that the Swayze was actually cheating, and it was one of the key points to one of the seasons is they tried to expose the Patrick Swayze model train as being a
Oh, that's
cheater that was
funny.
winning all the awards that it shouldn't have been winning. So shout
Oh,
out to
that's
Patrick
funny.
Swayze. There's another one gone too
It
soon.
is. That's one of those Easter eggs, right? That you just love.
Indeed.
Like when you bring up somebody from the past, and now we're talking about another past celebrity. Um, I think it's just an honor for them,
And
and I
Patrick
don't think
Swayze
you
was a good
really would
singer
have to.
too. Not to get
Oh,
off topic,
he had
but
a
he
great
was a good
voice.
singer. You give me
Yeah,
that
he had a
Patrick
great
Swayze
voice.
song from Dirty Dancing in the car,
She's like the wind.
game over. One of the
Loved it.
best.
Loved it. And they also added Jennifer Tilly from the Child's Play universe.
Name I haven't heard
So
in a while. Big
yeah,
fan.
yeah. Did you ever have you watched that Chucky series?
Believe it or not, I have not. My name is Chucky, and I took offense to the name of the little dastardly character being named after me. And as a youngster, I felt like I had to live up to that. And I did my best to try to
Yeah.
be a heathen just like Chucky, but hi, I'm Chucky, want to play. I definitely I'm
Hashtag heathen.
familiar with it, but I never was a big fan. I thought he was kind of stealing some of the glory from my name and
Yeah, that
giving me
must be tough.
unrealistic things that I had to live up to, which I probably could have ended up in a much better position in life, much more respected, had I had someone more respectable to live up to.
Yeah,
So sorry,
yeah.
Chucky.
But it's a great series if you like horror. That was a pretty good series.
I'm a
Pretty good series.
comedy guy. I like comedies and sports, and that's pretty
Yeah,
much my life. I never
yeah.
really got into any of the more popular stuff like Star Wars or Star Trek
I
or
didn't I
any
didn't
of the
like Star
horror
Wars. I don't
movies. I
like that
watched
much.
Friday the 13th once, and I think I watched a couple of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, but it was never really my jam. I like to
No.
laugh. I don't like to be scared, and I
Yeah.
guess it's
I
translated
don't
over
go
to my
see
real
horror
life.
movies in theaters for sure because you never get your money's worth. Uh,
And it can be
of
quite
course,
embarrassing if you
some
get
might
scared in
think that
public.
Superman is a horror because it wasn't good. All right, so look, that is update for school spirits. But let's get into what we do and where we do it. So you are watching us live on Kick, like Ignacio,
In Argentina.
YouTube and Rumble at Rhode Island Broadcasting. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you click that little bell so that way you always know when we go live. And we get a lot of people watching us right now, so let's get some comments down there. You can also watch us live on Twitch at RI_broadcasting. And there you can support the show by sending us bits. They're only a penny a piece. So send us a few bits and we can put our 2 cents in.
Be a big timer. Send 1,000 bits. It'll only cost you
Yeah.
$10, but you can tell your friends. I'll be a huge supporter. I sent 1,000 bits. That sounds
Yeah,
pretty impressive. We
it
would
does.
appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Keeps
Churning
the
out this
lights
kind of
on.
content forever with that.
So it keeps the lights on, that's for sure. You can also listen to us on podcast circuits.
Ooh,
Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, and iHeart Radio.
these are pretty
Radio.
major
Listen to
platforms.
the
If you say you
podcast.
can't find us, something's wrong.
Yeah, it's we're everywhere. We're everywhere. You can also follow us on all of these forms of social media: U42, Odyssey, Parla, Space Hey, Gab, MeWe, TikTok, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and of course Patreon at RI Broadcasting at Patreon, you can actually get stuff like this mug,
Become a patron
stickers,
today.
stuff like that. You know,
That's an impressive
but
list right there. I'm not going to lie, Ron. I haven't heard of about 90% of the platforms we're on. So, like I say, I can't
yeah,
find you is not a legitimate excuse because
no,
we're in
no,
places I don't even know to look. So,
right.
you
We
got to
had
find
a
us.
comment, and I mentioned it yesterday, but with Danny on, it kind of got lost in the shuffle, and someone criticized the show, and I have no
Ooh,
problem people criticizing. You know, um,
we
he
now have a
criticized the
rebuttal,
show
though.
that these two guys, meaning me and Kenny, on Sunday, don't add anything to the topics we're talking about.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's fine.
What are we
And
supposed
and
to
I
add to
even
the
said,
topics?
I don't even remember what the topics are because I've done now. This is my third show in a row, so it's like I don't know what I was talking about on on Sunday. But I thought the show was really funny. We had a good time,
To me,
and
that's the point of it. It's not to add
yes,
value, it's to add
yes,
entertainment value, to make you
yeah,
feel good for 1 hour a day.
absolutely. We had a
Because
good
I'll be
time.
honest, the topics I've got today, I don't have anything to add other than some laughter. I've got a couple good stories, but I'm not
They're
going to
funny.
enrich anybody's life by what I'm going to discuss today. I can assure you.
Yeah, and it's just and I get it. I get it. And I told him it's like, well, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the show, but
Thanks for watching.
I don't know how you couldn't. I don't know how you couldn't enjoy that show. That was such a good show. But you know,
Some people are just upset. It's the way it
you know,
is.
it is. You can also find us on X/Twitter at Broadcasting RI. So make sure you get in there, you share, you follow, you do all that kind of stuff. And then we have, of course, on Facebook at the Going On Daily Morning Show. So get on there, follow us there. We got to recover our 10,000 followers from Rhode Island Broadcasting that got jacked up. And so you got to get on there and follow us there. And you can also support the show at Rhode Island Broadcasting.net. So you can see the latest episode, and you can also donate, if you choose to. And there'll be some as time goes on, there'll be more and more stuff on that website as well. Right now we have this show going on daily, Falls Count Anywhere, and of course Sports Unfolded on there. But we'll have some videos of like the movies we've aired, and stuff like that, and some of the bands that have played on jam sessions. So we'll have all of that stuff on there soon. So
I'm going to
you
go
can also
check it
watch
out.
it.
I'm actually
Yeah,
interested in learning more about Falls Count Anywhere. I can only assume that it's a wrestling podcast, potentially.
absolutely.
Big
The
fan
kid
of
does a pretty
wrestling,
good
so
job.
I'll
He
go
knows
watch
his
it.
stuff. He's a little quirky, but
Wrestling
that's
fans
what
are.
makes it. That's what makes it. His.
I've been to a lot
So
of wrestling events in my day. I can assure you of that. I've been to all
yeah,
the big ones, and I like
yep,
listening to it.
yeah. So there we go. That's that. Let's move on. Get into our more of the show. Season 2, episode 139, The Collector. I don't know if you remember the Bone Collector.
Oh, indeed.
Denzel Washington movie was fantastic.
Most
Loved it.
Denzel Washington movies are fantastic.
Yeah,
True
they are actually.
statement.
Yeah. So let's do this. If animals could talk. Oh my god, I cannot wait for this. Cannot wait.
All right, ladies
I
and gentlemen,
yeah.
this is some of the things that come into your mind when you're sitting at an airport and you've got a layover. And I'm just kind of noticing things, and this thought comes through my mind. I was actually thinking about my neighbor's cat while I was sitting in the airport in Dallas, Texas, on my way home to San Antonio. I was thinking about my neighbor's cat because every day I go outside, I see my neighbor's cat. Looks very similar to the cat here in the graphic.
Oh,
Maybe
there we
that one's
go.
a little bit more brown, but I see my neighbor's cat every day. And I talked to him, and hey, I started thinking to myself, what would this cat say if he could speak back to me other than meow, which he says meow quite a bit. And a lot of times it's very animated. So I thought, you know, what would this world be like if we could communicate through
Oh, it'd be so fun.
vocalization with actual animals? And I know animals do understand. My dog understood a lot of things that I said, and I kind of understood her too. She'd bark at me and I'd kind of know what she was saying, but this doesn't apply to all animals. So I started thinking about this, and it was like, what animal would cuss you out for no apparent reason? What animal would tell you to shut up, to get out of the way, to leave them alone? I'm thinking, what animals would be the most rude and obnoxious if only they were given the ability to speak? And I came
Cats.
up with some pretty decent ones here. So we're going to start off with my personal favorite, which I think is maybe not going to be one that a lot of people would put at the top of the list, but I like to play golf, Ron. I go golfing a lot, and I play at this golf course over here that's got some wildlife. There are a lot of deer. I've seen coyotes. They've all been cool to me, but there's one particular animal at the golf course and anywhere really in general that when you stop and think about it, this animal is not that friendly. And the number one animal that I think would cuss us out if they could speak to us, geese. Geese
Yes.
are horrible animals.
Yes.
I try to be respectful of them. They chase you. They try to bite you. They're always
Oh, they're
making these
terrible.
yelling at you, and you wonder what they're
Yup.
saying. Maybe I'm misinterpreting the geese, and they're saying, "Hey, how you doing today?" And it just sounds like they're being rude. Maybe
No.
we live in an alternate universe, but I don't think so. I've seen geese chase people. I've seen them bite people before. No matter where I see geese, I try to avoid them because they're not cool to talk to.
No.
You don't go up to a goose, hey buddy, how you doing? What are you doing today? You don't try to pet a goose because you're well
No.
aware of the fact geese, they like to
They are
start
mean.
fights with people.
They are
They
mean.
like to chase children, little kids getting chased by
I
geese.
know.
I'm sure you've seen this many times in your life, as I have.
I
They
have.
love to chase kids. Now, what kind of a devious, dastardly character would prey on children?
Right.
Geese, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can't Chuck, I can't believe they don't portray geese as bad guys in, like, animated shows. I
Well,
can't believe it.
when we do the
I
Going On
had
Daily cartoon, we're gonna have a
right,
evil goose.
evil goose.
Geese are evil,
Chuck,
and I'm
I
sorry to
seen
all
it at
geese that are cool, but I've never met one, so I don't know. I have to tend to think like we've had in the past with the great white sharks and the orcas and such. I have to tend to think that most geese, there's probably one or two good ones, and they're getting a bad reputation based on the population. Much like myself, I'm a roofer. We get a bad rep because of one or two bad roofers, but I think it's the exact opposite in the world of geese, and I think that most geese are not very friendly at all. They don't
no.
like us. They wish that we weren't here. And oh, my Amazon heard me back there and she's asking me questions. But geese, ladies and gentlemen, number
Yeah.
one in the if animals could talk, what would they say?
Look,
And I have to assume a lot of vulgarity, a lot of profanity coming from the geese.
I worked at, the YMCA summer camp, and we had geese there chasing around the kids, and it was like a mad scramble, and
And you can't even do
and
anything.
I
You
don't
can't
like to
fight
admit
back.
it, but I had to be a little evil towards the goose that was really becoming a big problem. So I had to, like, do something to make it go away. Not permanently,
I was
mind
going
you,
to say, is
but
this something you like to share? Because I think a lot of people would like to know. I'm thinking
no.
water hose. You spray it with water or something.
Yeah, sure, we'll call it a
I did
water
see a
hose.
guy turn something on it and start chasing the goose with a golf club one time. I don't recommend that. I'm all for
No, no.
everybody enjoying this world. I would never hit a goose with a golf club. I would never
Yeah,
chase
no.
one because I'd be afraid that it would turn back on me and then I would be, cooked like a
Yeah.
goose, pardon the expression. So geese, number one, as far as evil
We did eat
animals that
well.
could,
No,
yeah, right.
no.
Here's my second one that I put on the list, and this is crazy that this is number two because I do think most people will recognize this immediately and say, you know what? Yeah, he's onto something. Cats. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah,
dog
absolutely.
person. I love dogs. And the reason I
I
love
do
dogs is
too.
because most dogs are very friendly. They'll let you pet them. They'll come up to you. They'll be really nice and you know. But
Yeah.
cats,
No,
you go
they
to
don't
the
want anything to
you go
do
to
with you.
someone's house that's got a cat and you try to sit down on the couch and you don't know that it's the cat's spot on the couch.
Yeah.
You find out really quickly. And cats will come up to you, they'll knock your drinks off the
Yes.
table, they'll mess with you, they do that stuff. My neighbor's
Yeah.
cat, I think my neighbor's cat and I are friends. I try to say hi to it every morning and I'm cool, but
Yeah.
every single morning I get the and it's like, dude, what it's me, you know, like
Yeah.
we were just cool yesterday. Now you're hating me again. And I
Yep.
think cats are very moody. I think that one cool thing about them is they're low maintenance as pets. I mean, you got to clean out their litter box, and if you don't, that's a problem. But they're pretty low maintenance because cats are not as social as dogs,
No.
and they just like to kind
No.
of let you know you're in my space. Go get me something to eat and shut up
Yep.
and leave me alone, and we'll be fine. But
They have
cats are not
attitudes.
the cats are not my favorite, and I do
No.
think that if some cats could talk, that they would say things like, "Shut up, get me something to eat, leave me alone. Are you still here? Why
Yeah.
are you here?" And just, you know, no, I can't think of a friendly conversation that I'd have with the majority of cats.
No. No, it just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Nope,
Doesn't happen.
cats are universally just
Yeah.
they're on their own level, and if they could talk, they'd say some stuff to us. Now, I did just say dogs are mostly friendly, and I love dogs. But I'll tell you this story, Ron. I'm in the roofing industry. I go to a lot of people's houses, and I carry a little taser that I got at the flea market. And the reason why I got this is because not all dogs are friendly, and sometimes you have to turn the taser on and just kind of give it the little and you hit the click button and dogs will leave you alone. You don't ever actually tase them, but the little sound will scare them away.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, the most prominent dogs that I've had to use this with, and the reason why I bought a taser in the first place, wiener dogs, Chihuahuas and little
Oh.
dachshunds.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
These things are
I don't like chihuahuas at all.
They are pissed, and I don't understand why, but it's always the little dog that you have to be on the lookout for. And I'll give you an
Yep.
example. I went to a house the other day. This lady had this giant German Shepherd and this little tiny wiener dog. And which one do you think she told me to be aware of? She's like, "Oh yeah, Jumbo over here, he's cool, but Minnie will bite your hand." And I've only been bit twice in my entire roofing career. Both times were
Yeah.
wiener dogs. So I think the wiener dog has probably just got that Napoleon complex deal going
Yes, I
on
was just
where
gonna
they
say that.
yeah, they don't realize that they're that small, but they'll boss around the bigger dogs. They'll tell the bigger dogs to get out of the way, and the bigger dogs usually are
Oh, that's
more
great.
confident in their stature to where they're like, "Yeah, you know what?
Oh, that's so
It's
awesome.
cool. Leave me alone. I'm not, I know I could chew your face off, but I'm not going to." But these little chihuahuas and these little dachshunds, beware, folks. And I think that all they would be saying if they could talk is they'd just be yelling at you. They whatever they say, it's going to be in an elevated tone. And I've never seen one that was friendly until you earn their respect. So I think they're kind of like the gangsters of the dog world. They're the ones that you have to be the most wary of because they're trying to prove themselves. In a
It's
world of
like
dinosaurs, they're like the little small one, and they're always the ones that are causing the problems. They're always the ones that are giving you the grief, and they're the ones that are not afraid to bite. I don't know what that
yeah.
is, but
Well, it's like a mob movie, right? You get all those mob gangsters and stuff like that, and then you have that Joe Pesci.
exactly. He's the little guy. Do I look like a clown to you? Am I funny? And maybe that's it. Maybe they just know that we're looking at him saying, "Look at him. He's like longer than he is tall, and he's
Yeah,
goofy looking." And they probably do have a complex. And I think we may have just hit upon why
yeah.
these are the mean dogs because I think they know that we're laughing at him. Look at him, a little wiener dog. I'd be upset if I was known as a wiener dog. Like to
Oh,
me,
that's
that's kind of
brilliant.
disrespectful. And maybe they know secretly deep down we're actually kind of using them as our entertainment, and they don't want to be entertainers, they want to be taken seriously. And I think we
Yeah.
just uncovered why wiener dogs and chihuahuas are so mean, folks. So
Yes.
if you don't get anything else from going on daily today, now
You
we
got
can
that.
understand the mindset of a tiny wiener dog. So there you
You
have it.
got that.
Wiener dogs are crazy. Another one, you
Agree.
ever go to the beach, Ron? You hanging out at the beach with your family. You guys set out a picnic, you're enjoying your day, and all of a sudden from out of nowhere comes these seagulls. And
Steven.
seagulls are another one. They're like the geese of the ocean, man. Seagulls do not give a crap about your feelings, and they are more than happy to steal your food right in front of your face, and they know that
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. And I had this happen to me one time in Mexico. Seagull came by, stole a nacho right off of my plate, and flew up to the top where I couldn't catch him and just kind of looked at me and said, "What are you going to do
What you
about it?"
gonna do about it?
And I did absolutely nothing. And I thought to myself, that seagull has probably stolen more nachos than any human being could ever steal. It knew exactly where to go. It knew exactly what to do. And it had perfect timing because it got in, got out, and honestly, kind of ruined my nachos. But then they also have a tendency to fly over you when you're at the beach, and they got to let go of those nachos one way or another. And I
Yeah.
think you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been
Yeah.
crapped on by seagulls before. And what do you do? I was on a boat just 2 days ago and we saw the seagulls out there on the lake. And as we were pulling up, sure enough, it was muddying up the water,
Yeah.
so to speak. And
Yeah.
I think they do it on purpose. I think it's
Well,
a game for seagulls. They
it
go up
is.
there, they
It
aim.
is.
Hey, look, I'm gonna get that guy right there. Splat. And what are you
It's
gonna
like
do
those
about it?
commercials, the bird commercials when they're talking to each other, and I think it's a Geico or something like that. I don't know what a commercial was, but they talk to each other, and that's what I feel like they're doing. It's like, oh, let's see who can get somebody first. But I have a great story with a seagull.
All
I
right,
was
let's
in
have it.
upstate New York, and by the water, sitting there. We went and got some food. We brought it back to the blanket, and we were eating some French fries. And of course, the seagulls are flying around and stuff like that. Well, this one seagull landed, I don't know, about 2, 3 feet away from us, and just like
Mm,
looked at us. And I couldn't help it, but I said, well, I called him Steven Seagull,
there you go.
Seagull, right?
They had to
So I said,
appreciate that
Steven, if you
humor.
want, you can come and sit down and you can have a French fry. And sure enough, this freaking seagull walks up, sits down right on the blanket, and just stares at the food and didn't do anything until we handed it to him. And then it
Now that's
stood
something
there
that we can
until we were
appreciate. We can
done.
appreciate good manners. Mine didn't
Yes.
ask me for nachos, it just took them.
Right. That's wrong. This one
Steven
waited
Seagull.
patiently, and we basically hand fed this thing for like 15 minutes.
That's
It was
that's
amazing.
remarkable. And that's how you do it. If you're a seagull watching our show today, understand that is the proper etiquette. That's the way to do it. You wouldn't be a topic of discussion on terrible animals that have no respect if you just follow the protocol.
And
So
this thing had 2 different color eyes.
interesting.
It
Probably
was
knew his name
weird.
was Steven too. Probably been called Steven for years. It
Yeah.
just knew, hey, I'm Steven. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna have some lunch with you guys, but only if you offer, because I am polite. And
Yeah.
again,
And it
he's the
was. I
he's the
couldn't believe it.
exception to the rule.
The
Most
very
seagulls are
exception.
terrible, and this guy is just like, hey man, we're not all bad. Some of
Yep.
us are cool, some of us appreciate you. So shout out
And
to the
he ate
seagulls
like
of the
a
world.
king that day.
Indeed. Probably the fattest seagull in the entire area.
Probably. Probably. And it was funny because when we're starting to eat them, and you're like looking and hovering and kind of dodging birds and stuff. And then, once he started coming over, it was like you then shifted your priorities of protecting your food and eating to, we're just going to feed this whole thing to the
Yeah,
seagull.
we don't even care now. Now we just want to share because we know we
Yeah.
understand your intentions and we appreciate them.
Yeah, I think we had like 3 fries ourselves. And the rest swing to the
This thing ate
seagull.
3 large orders of fries and said, "All right, guys, have a nice day." Gotta love it. You gotta love it.
is.
I have
It
one
is.
final thing on my top 5 here of what would animals say if they could talk, and this is a funny one. This is gonna end it on a happy note. We've talked about some of these devious geese and wiener dogs and seagulls and cats, and none of them have been in a positive connotation. But now we're gonna end it with a happy thought. And this is one of those mischievous animals that we all know and love. We see them and we're like, oh, how cute. And we know not to mess with them because they probably could do damage. But you're at a campsite, you look over, you see your garbage can getting knocked over by an awesome little raccoon. And I've always wondered, what do raccoons think of us? Do they appreciate us? Or do they actually go over, they knock our trash over as kind of a disrespect? I think it's because they love us, and I think that they're more afraid to come ask us for French fries like the seagulls do.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we'll just take whatever you've got. We appreciate it. We love to make mess. But raccoons are awesome because they got those little faces and they have those little hands and they can do all kinds of cool stuff. And I always think that if a raccoon could talk to us, it'd probably just say, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. And they'd probably tell us jokes. I think raccoons are characters. I think they've probably got stories that we would laugh at and that they would tell us something. And we just say, you know what? You're right, Rocky. I appreciate you for that. And that's why raccoons have been seen in cartoons in a positive light over the course of time.
Yes.
You've never seen a devious, evil raccoon that I can think of. They're always the characters that are out there having fun, doing good stuff,
Mischievous.
making people smile. And that, I think, is a great way to end this segment. Raccoons, thank you for what you give us because we think you're cool. And if you could talk, I think you'd be the most fun animals to talk to. Them and armadillos, but armadillos are a different story for a different episode. But I think if I could talk to any animal, I would like to learn how to speak raccoon.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I feel like I have a story for everything, Chuck.
That's what this is all about. It's a talk show.
I have a
Hopefully,
story
we're bringing
of a
value to
raccoon.
these topics today.
I remember one day I was watching TV and I had fallen asleep on the couch.
Happens.
And, so I'm starting to hear this noise and it's starting to wake me up. And I turn to look towards the big picture window that's in the living room. And there's a raccoon climbing up the curtains. And I'm like, what the hell? And all you see is a thing going, uh-oh.
So when you say climbing up the curtains, was this on the inside of the house?
Inside of the house. He was in the house.
Things that
And
make you
I'm
go,
like, What are you doing?
Probably open the door with his little
He
cute
just turned
hands.
and looked and like, oh no, I got caught.
He's been coming into your house for years, unbeknownst to you.
It was.
When you're not home, he's got the
in
TV.
attic.
He's changing the channels with his little hands. Their cute little fingers. He's changing the channels on the remote, watching the Animal Planet, and then he makes sure everything's back to normal before you get home, so you don't know he's in there.
Yeah.
Got caught. Well,
yeah, he must have been living in the attic and came down the stairs. Well, I got a milk crate. I kind of trapped him in the milk crate, slid a box underneath. He was big, let me tell you. We filled up that milk crate. Big.
You know what?
And
Real
heavy.
quick, I can say this. I also have a raccoon story I'd like to share really quickly, if I may.
Awesome.
And then we'll be on to a next topic, folks. But we're bringing value to this today. So I own a roofing company here in San Antonio, Texas. About 4 years ago, we were doing a roof for a family over in Converse, which is a little suburb of San Antonio. And my roofing crew was up there. We tear everything off, get down to the plywood. And behind the chimney, we noticed that there was some rotted wood there. So we pulled this piece out. My guys come down. They're cutting a piece out that they can piece in. And I don't know how this happened, but we do the roof. Everything's great. The family's happy. It looks awesome. 3 days later on Sunday, I get a phone call from this homeowner, and he's freaking out. There's something up there. There's something up there. My roof's making noise. And I'm like, roof's making noise. I've never heard that before. And I assure him that everything's fine. I was there, nothing crazy happened. Well, Ron, somehow in between the time that my guys took that piece off and put it back, a raccoon had jumped from a tree into the attic.
Oh my
We
God.
didn't know.
Yeah.
And the way that he found out was he had previous damage around the chimney that the insurance was paying for, and they cut the sheetrock in a closet in his master bedroom. And the
Yeah.
way that he found out it was a raccoon was because it was walking around the perimeter. It fell into the closet through this hole, and he opened it and freaked out because it was a giant raccoon. So I've never fought raccoons. I don't know what to do. We go over there, and I'm like, well, we need to find someone that can help us. I call these exterminating companies and these retrieval, and they're all busy. And they said, there's one guy you can call. And I forget his name. I think it's Billy or something like that. We call this guy Billy, and he's like, I'll be right over. Give me 15 minutes. I just live down the street. This guy shows up, Ron. He's wearing a huge cowboy hat. He's got a giant belt buckle on. And I'm like, do you need gloves? No, don't worry about it. So he goes into the closet. Myself, the homeowner, and my sales guy are kind of hiding because we don't know. We just mentioned that raccoons are nice, but I think if they're in a closet for a couple of days, they may be in a bad mood. We hear the guy talking to this raccoon. Oh, buddy, whatever. He comes back out. He says, give me a minute. Goes down to the truck, gets a Tupperware, like a storage tote, walks in, scoops the thing up, puts the lid on, walks out with it like nothing happened. And he says, $25, man. I'm going to go put this thing over in the woods so it's safe. $25 is all it costs to get this raccoon out. But I saw a grown man that was wearing a cowboy hat and a large belt buckle walk in, talk to a raccoon, and then take it out of the room like nothing happened. So
yeah, that's great. Kudos for him. I mean, really.
I
So if
couldn't
you're
do
in
that
San
job.
Antonio and you have a raccoon problem, call Billy.
Call Billy the raccoon guy over in Converse, Texas.
There we go. See, we're giving people some valuable information.
There you go. If you're watching this and that can help you, then yes, we are providing value today.
Yeah, and he just releasing it in the woods, so he's not doing anything to it. He's not cooking them or anything like that.
Nope. Different story for a different day there.
Yeah. All right, so we have Rock and Bones. Rock and Bones. So, an auction took place and a Mars rock that weighs 54 pounds, which is known to be the largest rock from Mars on Earth.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Now, I'm a little skeptical that this is an actual Mars rock.
That's the question I have immediately is how do we know this came from Mars directly? What kind of evidence would lead us to that?
Yeah.
Someone obviously has given it the stamp of approval, certificate of authenticity.
I find it hard to believe. And this is what they say happened. An asteroid clipped Mars and took the rock all the way here.
Okay.
I'm guessing millions of years ago. I don't know, but it was discovered excuse me, November 2023
Recent.
in the Sahara Desert. Now, how doesn't Mars have a atmosphere?
I'm not super familiar with Mars. I've never been, but I would have to assume so. Yes.
Got to.
I would
if
have
it
to
has
assume.
life, so they say, little algae and water and stuff like that. But
Martians.
If it has life and Martians, right? How does an asteroid go into the atmosphere, clip the planet, and then keep going to Earth?
These are all valid questions, folks.
Now, I'm a little skeptical. I don't doubt that an asteroid went into the atmosphere and clipped it. Just saying.
I see no reason to doubt it. I've never seen it personally, but anything's possible.
There's no way an asteroid is now going to bounce off the planet and exit the atmosphere.
Right?
Now, I think this is basically an asteroid, like a piece of an asteroid. That is believable.
I could
But
buy that.
they say it's from Mars. I don't know who they are, but they say it's from Mars. And this rock went for $5.3 million. Somebody paid $5.3 million
I would like
for
to
this
meet that
piece of
individual
Mars.
because I've got all kinds of crazy things from all over the place, and I could sell them, and I could convince them that it came from. I've got I got a nasal spray that came from Jupiter. I'll sell it to you right now for 300,000.
Yeah.
That's a
So this
deal.
was supposed to be the big ticket item in the auction, but it was
Just
very
goes to show
slow, and
people
they
are
had
kind
to
of stupid.
they had to get people almost forcing them to bid, right? So the biggest find, the biggest auction was that little dinosaur bones over there.
All right.
It was a Ceratosaurus,
Okay.
Ceratosaurus, which is basically like a little mini T Rex.
I could definitely see myself buying one of those.
Right. So this young skeleton of the Ceratosaurus was made with 140 fossil bones and then some sculpted materials, most
Clay.
likely plaster.
There you go.
And so these bones were all found near Laramie, Wyoming at Bone Cabin Quarry, which they find all kinds of dinosaurs there.
Hence the name.
Yes. Bone Cabin, right? So this guy is 6 feet tall, and these grow up to 25 fully grown, 25 feet. So it was just a young little guy or girl when it perished.
Sorry that he didn't get to live a full life.
Yeah, so the T Rexes grow to 40 feet, so that's a whole different
It's
ball
like the
game, right?
wiener of the dinosaurs right there, you know?
Yeah, I mean 6 feet would still do damage to a human. It would
I
still
could
eat
fight
you,
a 6-foot dinosaur, and I think I could
right?
maybe win. I mean,
Possibly, right?
hypothetically speaking, I think I could take a dinosaur because they got those short little
Yeah,
arms. I'd
little
have a
arms,
reach
right?
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reach
you can just
advantage, and I think I could get
stick
a
and move,
chokehold on the neck. I would
stick
beat
and
a
move.
dinosaur in a fight, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee it. Not a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but I could definitely beat this little mini version. And
Yeah, the little
that's the
one.
mean one, just like the wiener dogs. That thing is probably the one that bites, probably the
Yeah,
one that doesn't really have a whole lot of friends because
yeah,
he's just not hospitable. But
exactly.
if I ever had
Well,
to fight a dinosaur, that would be the one I'd pick.
this guy. Well, you don't want to get a full-grown one because those are 25 feet tall. You're not going to
I'd
win
have to
that
wear
one.
that one out. I'd have to dance around a little bit, get him
Yeah,
tired, maybe go for a
yeah,
takedown or something like that. If I get him
something.
on the ground, my jujitsu could probably
We'll see.
still
There you
win.
go.
So I will publicly say that if I ever get to fight a Tyrannosaurus, that's my strategy. And I think I could still win. So
I don't know about
if
that.
you know of any Tyrannosauruses that want to try me out, you know how to get a hold of me.
Well, isn't Barney a T Rex?
Indeed. Tell me you couldn't fight Barney. Tell me you couldn't beat Barney in a fight. Although I bet Barney is probably one of those characters that, like, after the show, he's back there drinking. He's probably smoking a cigarette. He probably is like not he's like Krusty the Clown, kind of, you know. Barney has a complete dark side, and maybe he wouldn't be
Oh,
the one to
man.
mess with because
Oh my
he'd lure
god.
you in. Hey
He probably
kids, and then just
terrorizes all
slap
the
you
little
around with
kids
his
on the
tail.
set. Probably scares all the kids.
Exactly. Get away from me,
Yeah.
you little
So
brats.
this guy, this one went for $30 million. Somebody
Mm.
forked over $30 million for this skeleton.
And this is not even a full authentic skeleton. We just mentioned it's got plaster on it. Like, I'm
Yeah,
starting to think that rich
140
people
bones
fall for
for
some
real.
pretty stupid things. And just because you're rich doesn't mean you're smart. Cause,
Yeah.
30 million bucks for a
140 bones. So, I mean, you're paying like 2 million a bone. Not
I would
quite
take
that
one
little, but
bone. You don't even have to give me the bone. Just give me 2 million and I'd be happy. You know, like
yeah.
I'll take one of my own bones out for 2 million and sell it to you. I mean, come on. And I promise it's authentic. You could even watch.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So there we go. That's the Rock and Bones. I don't believe that the Rock is from Mars. I don't believe it for 1 minute.
I don't either. And to the poor fool, you've got more money than brains, and I respect that because
Yeah.
I'm not in that position. If I could afford to spend millions of dollars on rocks, my life would be totally
Like, I
different.
just don't buy how it got here. There's no way. I mean, if
Nobody
you
was
tell me
around to
they
see
got
it. Somebody had to launch
thing
this
came
big
back.
story. That's the thing. These people are sitting around a campfire one night drinking moonshine, and they're like, "Hey, old Steve down the street, that rich guy. Let's convince him that this thing fell from Mars, and we can get several $1 million out of this fool." And they're probably laughing at him, and he's over there thinking he's got something really amazing. And I only paid
Yeah.
5.3 million for this thing. I got a good
Yeah.
deal.
I
I
mean,
don't
because it
know.
has a reddish tint.
Spray
There
paint,
aren't red
folks.
rocks.
Spray paint.
All right, let's move on to the final topic of the day. Strangest things people collect. What do you got for us?
I'm going to
I
condense
mean,
this down in honor of the time that we've got left here. But there are a
yeah,
few things I want to hit, and then I've got a personal story which I think might be the strangest thing that someone has ever collected in the history of time. So I put this down because again, yesterday I was at the airport and I'm sitting in the plane, and the first thing I noticed that was no longer in the plane, Ron, is barf bags. So this led me to wonder, why are there no longer barf bags? And I guess it's a cost-cutting measure. Barney would definitely let you down. And I would be willing to fight Barney, even knowing that he's probably not the nicest dinosaur that we've ever met. I think that's probably my best chance, honestly. So if anybody
yeah.
sees Barney, if you know where I can get a hold of him, I challenge Barney. I'll fight him at RoofCon, the roofing expo that's
Good.
got a cage fight thing. I will fight Barney if Barney accepts my challenge. I think he's a coward though, so not going to happen. But we get back from Barney, we digress to barf bags on planes. And so I actually texted this on Google, and I'm like, why are there no longer bags for people to throw up on planes? And honestly, I've never seen anybody use one. I thought maybe that was a reason, but this led me to the discovery that this has been a highly collected item over the course of history. And it's because people get on different planes with different logos. They've got different airlines that are no longer around. Piedmont Airlines barf bags are worth hundreds of dollars because there is no Piedmont Airlines. You'll never get another barf bag from them. TWA, you'll never get one from TWA because it doesn't exist anymore. So if you're in possession, I come to find out there's a whole underground barf bag collection group, and these things actually go for several $100s. So barf bags on planes, strange thing to collect, but there is a market for them. So
That is just ridiculous.
yes, indeed it is. Here was another thing that led me to kind of think about this. I texted in, what are some strange things that people collect? And number 5 on this list is chewed gum from celebrities. And this ties right into my story, but I read that somebody paid over $1,000 one time for a piece of chewed up gum from Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake probably doesn't even realize that his gum went for $1,000, but there was someone willing to pay that. And again, now we have to wonder about the credibility, the certificate of authenticity on this. Do you have a photo of Justin Timberlake spitting the gum on the ground? Or could I just start chewing up a bunch of gum and putting it in wrappers and saying, hey, this one came from whoever, Denzel Washington chewed this gum up, and now I'm going to sell it on eBay for $13,000 or the highest bidder. And at that point, if you make more than a quarter, you're actually turning a profit. So chewed up gum from celebrities is a real thing. I guess there's some way to authenticate them. I don't know. Here's one that I
DNA.
thought was pretty crazy as well. and I'm sure you're familiar with this. You go to the store, you buy these bananas, right? And they got those little blue stickers on them.
Oh, the Chiquita banana stickers. Yeah.
I've never thought anything of this until yesterday afternoon when I realized there's an entire market for banana stickers. Chiquita obviously is the most common, but apparently there are, a banana like a 2024 Ecuador banana, and they keep the sticker and they trade them around in shows all over the world. Stickers
Really?
off bananas is a strange thing to collect, but it came up as something that is legitimate. And there's a whole community that trade these stickers off and on, kind of like sports cards for, I hate to say this term, but weirdos. Weirdos collecting banana stickers is a thing. Two more, and then I'm going to tell you the story that's going to end this episode because it is the weirdest story of all time. But what about back scratchers? You go to the parks, you go to Disney World, you go to, amuse, and you get those little back scratcher things, and they've got a little logo on them, Life's a Beach or whatever. And I've actually known people in my adventures in roofing that had an entire room of back scratchers. So when I saw that, it instantly triggered this memory, and it was like, that's cool. Back scratchers, little spoons, things like that you can buy that kind of illustrate where you've been. But there's an entire community on that. There is a guy that has over 600 back scratchers that actually takes them on tour around the country, and people pay to see them. So if you got a back scratcher, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Either that or
it's bizarre.
Indeed.
But
people are bizarre though, Ron.
People are crazy. The back scratcher, I kind of get it because it's like magnets or anything like that,
I have an extensive magnet collection, and one time I did actually own like 3 back scratchers. So it's not as crazy as it sounds. I don't think I'm a crazy collector, but I had multiple back scratchers at one point.
Crazy.
Banana stickers is something I would never have even imagined, but it goes to show. I'm going to the store now and I'm going to start looking and saying, maybe I'll find that rare Babe Ruth banana that gets me out of the roofing world. But okay, this is the story to end our episode today, folks. And I promise you, this is going to be one of the craziest things that anybody's ever done. And it's a human being that I know personally. He was a former guest host on my podcast, used to work at my roofing company, and he's a very quirky individual. So my friend Eric, he told me I could use his name. I was actually going to call him Derek so that nobody would know who it was. But he said, no, use my name. He's proud of this. He told a story several years ago on my podcast about a time when he was a young man, sports fan, that was growing up in Minnesota. So in Minnesota, you've got the Timberwolves, you've got the Vikings, you've got the Minnesota Twins, and I think they have a hockey team, the Wild, I believe is what they're called. He's a fan of all these teams from Minnesota, and he's telling a story about how they had training camp for the Vikings. I guess it was probably maybe in the early 2000s, late 90s, but he's at a restaurant with his family one night. They went to Minneapolis for training camp, and they're having dinner at a restaurant in Minneapolis near the Metrodome where the Vikings played. And he happens to see NFL legend, the pride of Hearne, Texas, John Randall, who is a Hall of Famer. John Randall is well known in the NFL circles as one of the all-time greats. And my friend Eric recognizes John Randall as a kid. Obviously, your first thought is, I need to get John Randall's autograph. I'm a cute little kid. He's definitely not going to say no. Well, bad news, Ron. John Randall was not feeling it that day, and he turned down an autograph for a little kid, which I'm not being judgmental because I know Eric, and I wouldn't give him an autograph either. But my friend Eric becomes despondent, and then he starts kind of looking around, and he recognizes something that was left behind after the meal was finished. And this is where the story gets kind of weird. My friend Eric, probably about 10, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old at the time, at a restaurant with his family, gets denied an autograph by John Randall, which is a very upsetting moment in the life of a young child, right? He sees something on the table, and instantly something in his mind triggered him to think, I need this. This is going to be worth money someday. Some guy named Chuck is going to tell this story on a podcast years from now. And I'm bringing this back around, Eric. So if you're watching this, thank you for this story. John Randall was eating a club sandwich for lunch. Like, we got these kind of details. He's eating a club sandwich, Ron. And you know what a club sandwich is? It's a 3-layer ham, turkey, whatever. And they stick toothpicks in them.
Yeah.
My friend Eric sees John Randall picking his teeth with the toothpick and putting it back on the plate. Now, you know exactly where I'm going with what this collector's item turned out to be. He ran over to the table as a young man and stole the toothpicks that had been literally used in John Randall's teeth. I dare I say, probably the only human being on earth that has this item. And if there was a way to authenticate it, he probably could be a multimillionaire off of it. But my friend Eric in Texas has a plastic bag to this day that has toothpicks from John Randall, the NFL superstar, from toothpicking his teeth after eating a club sandwich during training camp sometime in the late 90s. So just when you think that banana stickers or, chewed up gum from celebrities is weird, my man Eric comes and takes the cake 100% with used toothpicks from John Randall. So there you have it, folks. Doesn't get much more weird than that. If you're watching this episode and you can top that story, leave it in the comments because we probably won't believe it. But I do believe it because I saw the bag.
He could have just taken everything off the table from him, the utensils, the napkins.
I guess it wouldn't have made as good a story as just saying I waited till he picked his teeth and then I took the toothpicks and put them in a baggie for safe storage for
the
life.
little bits of food at the end?
It's a family heirloom. He's going to pass it on for generations to come. Great-great-grandchildren are going to one day say, you know what, this bag of toothpicks, let me tell you a little bit about it, folks. And I guess that's the legacy he's leaving behind for his family. So perfectly appropriate. If you knew Eric, you'd realize that that's exactly why he did it. And
my God.
I wish him the best, but he does still have that baggie to this day. And he shared the story on our podcast many years ago. And as soon as I thought about strange things that people collect, that was right there. So there you have it, folks. Hope we brought some value to you with that story. I hope that Ron and I did our job today and enriched your lives with some of the nonsense that we just talked about for the last hour plus, because it was a lot of fun.
That was funny. All right, so tomorrow, Becky returns with Darcy.
All right.
Darcy will be in her second show tomorrow. So Becky the Goat, who was here, I thank you for your comments. She came in, breezed through, left that great comment about Barney. Love it. Love it. I also want to thank everybody else that's been here, including Ignacio River.
Thank you, my friend. All the way from Argentina.
Absolutely. Our new Argentina fan. Oko Okality, even though you're a bot, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, thanks for being here anyways. We appreciate you.
And Jug FL, thank you so much for being here as well. Look, we love when people are joining the show and commenting. Never be afraid to do that. So tomorrow, 10 a.m., be here with Becky and Darcy. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock if you're out in Edmonton, Alberta.
9 o'clock if you're in San Antonio.
9 o'clock if you're in San Antonio. So join us every day except for Fridays. Every day. So thanks for everybody being here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.